Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm one of your co hosts, Rico Borrego,
I am your other co-host, Tony Borrego.
and this is the podcast known as Relatively Sound, the podcast where there's a light.
What light?
Today, Tony and I are back, and we are back with our album for album series, but there's going to be a little twist. Tony and I have decided we wanted to experiment with the format of these episodes moving forward, and we wanted to make them maybe a little bit more exciting for you guys and a little bit more exciting for us. So, something we're going to try to do moving forward with the next couple of episodes is we are going to be doing a reaction to listening through the album. So, the concept will still be the same where I give Tony an album, he gives me an album. But what we're going to do is the first time either one of us sits down and listen to the album, we're going to actually do it together through Zoom like we would the normal podcast episode. And we're going to listen to the album all the way through. And during the listening process, we're going to give opinions and thoughts that we have towards the different songs. And when I go to edit the episode, I'm going to do an edited version of the reaction. So that way it's not going to be like just an hour long podcast episode with just the reaction. And we're going to come back like a week later and finish recording the episode where the person who listened to the album for the first time will give their more, full response to the album after they have listened to it at least a couple more times on their own. The caveat is because I'm not quite sure about copyright for playing like bits and pieces of songs, for more than like 10 seconds on the audio version. The reaction is only going to be available on our YouTube page, which will be in the description. It's literally just called Relatively Sound, our YouTube page. So if you're listening through streaming services like Spotify or Apple, definitely go check out our YouTube page if you want to see an edited version of our reaction to the album and the songs. So I guess now we should talk about what album we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about Wilco's album Sky Blue Sky, which I have here on vinyl. And really quick, Wilco is a band that I actually just got into last year because I heard their song Impossible Germany on an episode of The Bear. And Wilco is a band that I've always heard the name, but I never have heard a song of theirs up until listening to Impossible Germany on The Bear. And so sometime last year, I started getting into their discography, and honestly, I'm still going through their discography. And I have only listened to about half their albums, but I knew once I was getting through some of their albums that I wanted to share this band with Tony on the podcast.
And roughly how many albums do they have, just in the ballpark?
I want to say like 12 or 13.
All right, so they got a lot of work to
But
go through.
they do, but they also have like other side projects. There's a ton of Wilco related albums and material, live albums and whatnot. So I'm still working my way through it, but I basically had it down to showing Tony either their probably most popular mainstream album, Hotel Yankee Foxtrot, or this album, Sky Blue Sky. And I even went on the Wilco subreddit and asked people, which album should I give Tony? And I explained to everyone our podcast and how it works and blah, blah, blah. And I would say it was pretty evenly split between the two, although a lot of other people were giving other album suggestions, ones that I just didn't want to give Tony right now. But I went with Sky Blue Sky because I thought the guitar work would maybe be something that Tony could latch onto more. I thought the songwriting was a little bit more abstract than Hotel Yankee Foxtrot. And I just thought it'd be an easier place for Tony to start. But anyway, you've never heard about them at all. I mean, you've heard their name probably, but you've never heard anything from them, right?
No, I've heard their name before, but I don't even really hear them brought up much at all. Like, literally, other than you saying Wilco, I don't think I've read or heard their name in the last like 5 years. Not because I think they're irrelevant, but just I don't know. I just haven't heard anything about them,
So go.
which kind of is intriguing to me, considering their music seems accessible enough. They have a lot of work. You mentioned like their songs being used in like shows and movies. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and going into this first listen, I am not giving Tony any information other than I think I told him what year the album came out. I am not
I
telling him
already
about
forgot.
band members. I'm not telling him about, you know, the back history of like what other bands the other band members were in. So I will tell Tony that after we listen to the album for the first time through. I'll tell him probably off camera, and then yeah, because I kind of don't want to spoil stuff for Tony. So right now we're gonna go over to Tony's first reaction of this album. Like I said, it'll be edited, but you're gonna hear his thoughts happening live as he's listening to each one of these songs. And then we're gonna fast forward a week, and we're gonna come back, and Tony's gonna give his thoughts after hearing the album a couple more times all the way through. So yeah, so if you're listening, like I said, on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, go to our YouTube page, Relatively Sound, to catch our reaction to this album. So let's go.
Okay, panned to the left significantly.
Maybe the sun will shine today.
That look.
I will. Maybe you still
Okay,
love
nice little
me.
classic bass fill.
Maybe you don't.
I'm surprised they haven't got back to that weird part already. Kind of weird.
I will try to understand.
That was kind of a Steely Dan little guitar like there, ain't gonna lie. I mean, that's the way that I can describe this.
I will
Like, this part makes me think of Radiohead,
Hmm.
and then, like, more like this makes me think of Elliot.
Hmm. It's like
Either way.
in that chorus, the first half is Radiohead to you, and the second half is Elliot.
No, because I feel like with the Radiohead songs, they'll do like kind of a weird chord progression, and like you know that they know like, it's kind of not hidden right, but they're like, let's just do it because it's weird.
Yeah.
But then it starts to sound more in place.
Which is like Elliot, like he would make it a little bit more like the transition more like fluid.
A little more fluid, a little neater, a little more
Yeah.
like it has a direction. Yeah, and it had like the guitar picking, like arpeggios, kind of seem more like a Weird Fishes sort of thing, right? Where it's like
Okay.
really textural, not swirly, but almost to that effect. But
Yeah.
then you have that like fucking organ that's like all happy, kind of like a upbeat Elliott song.
Oh, so you're getting like newer artists where I thought maybe the organ reminds you of the little Heartbreakers.
No, I wasn't picking it up like that.
okay.
No. This sounds very like 2000s, like not indie rock and not like post grunge, but like the Elliott Smith contemporaries.
So you made a comparison of someone you love and then someone you're like,
This is a great
overrated.
start. Great. This really could go anywhere. I think that was a cool song. That was a cool song. Kind of an underwhelming album opener, but it's a good song. All right, let's get to it. Second song, "You Are My Face." Okay, I'm not liking that it kind of starts off the exact same. More organ. I like the real piano sound they used though. This is what I imagine the Fleet Foxes sound like.
Well,
This is the fucking Radiohead bullshit. Okay, this is like Rag and Tears now. If you even say that you like this part, you're lying.
I think this part during this rock bit sounds more like it fits the song than the first time that it happens.
This time around it does.
Yeah. It's still a little off-putting, but
Sounds like they just like maxed out the wetness.
I hate when the wetness gets maxed out.
Right. All right. I mean,
A little more unsure than the first song.
I'm definitely unsure. I'm very unsure. I don't really know how to interpret that.
Is it? Are you getting kind of like Bruce flashbacks where it's like too much? And well, I feel like with the Bruce though, you kind of knew right away. You're like a lot of this isn't working. Where this one, I don't know if you're just feeling more like overwhelmed, especially because they're a new band for you. Where Bruce, you had expectations.
Right, right. With Bruce, I had expectations that immediately fell through as soon as I heard the first minute of the album. And then,
Clavinet.
yeah, as soon as I heard the fucking clavinet master go off, this one, I'm kind of puzzled. I really don't know where we're gonna take it because the first song I was getting more like modern feels, and then "You Are My Face" there was kind of some like real kind of old school feel, a little more folky,
So where is this song gonna?
and
take
then a little
us?
more Halloweeny. It's like Halloween and folk.
Okay. New genre.
Yeah, we'll call it
Holofolk.
Holofolk. Holofolks.
Folkloween.
Okay, if we were doing a Ween album, then we could say that.
Jeez.
Okay, let's get to the third song. I have to think about this.
Okay.
Okay, so every song starts off the exact same. Okay, a little more effects though. So they seem to have a lot of like 2-chord progressions, a lot of picking guitar parts. This is definitely a 2 a.m. in my feels sort of song.
I totally get you.
This was still new to me.
I think this one's executed really well.
Wouldn't understand.
The
This-
panning's really great.
I would listen to this at 2 a.m. driving.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like 6 a.m. and like the sun's barely starting to come out.
Okay, yeah. You got. I mean, maybe not so much in California, but you get that
No,
kind of
yeah,
that morning
Washington.
chill. They do a really good job at that lo-fi, clean tone sort of thing. And I feel like maybe like the guitars aren't even that. They feel like there's probably more delay and effects on them, but I think they just do a good job of panning it and kind of the interplay. Like that little flutter. It's a real Neil Young ass solo right now.
I fucking love this solo.
I feel like he's preheating. He's not really cooking yet though for me, but that's a good lick. I'm stealing that. Nice little repeating octave lick. Those guitar harmonies remind me of some of like what I would do with the GarageBand back in the early days, and I mean that in the best way possible. I was skeptical on the shaker, but it's working.
What you thinking?
I need a second here. I need to digest that. You know, something I can't help but ask myself is I'm trying to diagnose how good this guy is at guitar. Like sometimes he plays something and I'm like, this kind of an amateur move here. And then sometimes you play something and then I'm like, oh shit, that not only was really cool, but that was played really well, or that was chaotic in a really controlled way. I'm a little bit confused.
I feel like in your head, in your mind's ranking of guitar players, you're like, okay, he's as good as Eddie Vedder. Okay, he's better. He's as good as Chris Cornell. He's better. He's as good as Wes Borland. Okay, now he's better. Now he's Neil Young. Oh, is he better? He's like, and I feel like it's just with every song you're deciding, does it go up a notch? I will say 2 things. One, that was the song that got me into this band because it played in an episode of a TV show called The Bear that we were watching.
I've heard of the title, but
And 2, there's so many parts in that guitar solo I love. The very beginning of the guitar solo, he does these just little slides and then pull-offs that just are so atmospheric that I love. And then there's a part where he's starting to heat up where he does this noise that sounds like an arcade machine.
so okay. Well, how many songs we got left on this? We got 9 songs left or something like that. And I have no idea where this album's gonna go because I feel like all these songs have kind of been very similar. There are different things about them, but if you told me to distinguish them, I don't think I really could distinguish them other than
Even this one?
well, I
than
can
the
say this
first
one's
2?
got the long guitar solo. But so far in my head, they all kind of start off the same.
See, I think this one's a little jazzier than the first two.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, come on, like they start off with guitar that's picking. They have a little piano or organ bit. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay.
I don't want things to get ugly yet.
Title track.
I'm not sure if it actually is, but those like pedal steel volume swells sound pretty nice.
With the sky blue sky,
Chorus
this rotten time
diminished.
wouldn't seem so bad to me now.
Okay. I will say that last song I didn't have a lot to say because I was vibed out. For this song, I didn't have a lot to say because I don't think there was much to say.
You haven't mentioned anything about the lead singer's voice yet, Jeff Tweedy.
His name's Jeff Tweedy.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you pulling my leg? Is this a rib?
No, that's his name.
Jeff Tweedy. Okay, let me look at this Wilco picture. Let me see which one it is. All right. Let's get me back in here, coach. Get me back in here. I'll let it run through. I'm excited for this one. Side with the Seeds.
Tiles top black, where the black top cracks.
What I thought the Counting Crows would sound like.
Spark
Jeez.
blue.
You good over there?
So, that was awesome.
Comes and goes.
Why do I feel like they could have got a better take for the rest of the song?
As we all can plainly see.
But I don't think you were hating the song until that point. Like, I think you were just so in love with that second part.
The situation
I feel like
is our only chance to be free.
I don't know how I feel about this part. Like even on the first, before we heard that little B section, I like it, but I feel like it could be done a little better. Okay, not making you wait so long for it. Okay, a little different this time than the last time we heard it. Whoa. Okay, hang on a second.
You're like, wait a minute.
It was kind of. I can't really. It might be like the guitar tone a little bit, but I was kind of getting some shades of like Queens of the Stone Age or like even like the Manic Street Preacher solos where they're like, it's kind of like that, like that fuzzy sound.
There's a darkness to it, too. I like hearing a solo like that. I now understand why some people think John Frusciante is overrated.
Okay. I will say I think that was probably. I think that's my favorite solo so far. Impossible Germany was cool too, but this one was pretty exciting, and I really did like Impossible Germany had a pretty vanilla backing track for the solo.
Oh, see, I love the back. I get what you're saying.
It's
not
not bad, but
it's a little smooth jazz in that sense where it's pretty harmless. This is definitely more adventurous, but I like that type of sound. Where this one it took me a couple takes to fully understand the song.
Well, because this felt more like like with Ben Folds 5, like when someone's soloing, the rest of the band's still going off. It's full on jam, man, and that's what this song was doing. And there's a time and a place for that. But that was pretty exciting. A lot of good note choices, and the guitarist did a really good job still of having themes and like structure to the solo. Where he did that too on Impossible Germany, but he just did this in a different format, a little quicker.
Yeah.
But I am liking that about his playing. He seems kind of methodical in how he's piecing together his phrases. I think I'm gonna say it right now. I think this is a highlights album.
As in, like, you like parts of a song better than the entire song?
I think there's gonna be like standout moments for me that I'm going to go back to. But I think this album's gonna be a matter of growth or not, because if through more listens, maybe those highlights will draw me in enough where it's gonna grow on me.
That's true.
We're not even halfway through, and I still don't. I think the album is gonna change in sound a little bit, not much, but I think it might get a little heavier. That's what I'm hoping.
Let's see if you're right. I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm fucking wrong. We're gonna
I'm
get
not
quiet.
gonna,
He's
I'm not
gonna
gonna
soft out on me.
I'm not gonna
Where's
say anything.
where's the 9-minute closing serenade?
Sunlight angles on.
This is a riff you would make with the touch instruments on GarageBand.
Okay.
Ceiling fan is on.
So I think, I mean, I wasn't counting super intensely, but I think there's like an extra beat added, kind of occasionally in
I
here.
think that might be right.
Into words.
That sounds fat.
It definitely starts to spoil my heart.
Highlights.
But somewhere there's a way.
I don't know if it's like the keys matching the bass there, but that like sort of like synthy tone they're getting.
Shake it out.
I promise there's no lag. It's the song.
Very Pink Floyd transition there.
Really? I wouldn't know.
This riff works so much better now. Oh my god. That is amazing how much better this part sounds after hearing it. I don't even know how that actually works. I like his vocals here a lot.
Yeah, got a little bit more like angst.
Yeah, it's a good mix of all its qualities. I'll get it right one of these times.
So, did you shake it off?
I don't know why, but that verse sounds so much better after hearing that B section.
Yeah.
I also like that there wasn't like a solo in this song. We've been getting a lot of new lead guitar work, and I appreciate it being more reserved.
Yeah.
So what I'm really noticing here is that they'll like have like a lot of we'll just do A and B. They'll have a really long A section, and then they'll have a B section that's a pretty good length, and then they'll go to the A section, but then I feel like they transition a little too fast back to the B section. But at the very least, the B section is a little bit different than the first time round, where the verse maybe is more similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
That was a fun one. That also kind of reminded me of like I'm not sure if you've seen them on YouTube. They do reels or shorts, whatever YouTube calls them, shorts. And
yeah.
the band's called like Pamplemousse. And
Yes.
yeah, it kind of reminded me of something like they would do with the electric keys, something kind of fun.
All right. I will say I hated that song on first listen, by the way.
I hated that riff on first listen, but honestly, by the time we got to that B section, this might be my favorite.
I shouldn't be surprised. You like the weirdest songs on the album.
No, I don't think this is the weirdest song. I think "You Are My Face" is weirder with the chord progressions in it.
Yeah, that one section is kind of weird, but I like it now.
All right, please be patient with me. All right, let's jump in. Let's get this ball rolling. I had my little time to cool down after Shake It Off. Okay. Some real overcooked vibes. Some Young and the Giant over here. I love that the guitar playing isn't obvious. Like, it's not very predictable, but it doesn't sound out there.
Oh, but my blessings get so blurred.
And it's been developing this whole time. You know, I had another guitar.
At the sound of your
Serviceable vocals here.
I'm gonna need.
In general, I don't really love his vibrato on his guitar work. It's memorable. It's a signature, but okay. That little ascending bit sounded like something from a basement.
Yeah.
You know, that song was actually pretty interesting. I really like that one. I thought it was kind of cool too because it didn't have like a swing or like a shuffle to it, but it wasn't like you could move to it even though there was
Yeah.
like no drums at all.
That not having the drums, I think, helps with that feeling.
Yeah, that I actually really like that one. Okay, we're like halfway through the album, and I'm already, honestly, it's been a while since I've been able to pick out kind of my favorite stuff quickly on an album, and I'm picking out my favorite stuff here pretty easily. So let's see, Hate It here. I want to see them do like a rock song. Like obviously they've been rocking out in parts, but I want to see them just like just do straight ahead rock. Like it can be complicated, but
Can I tell you if they're going to do that or not on this album?
no.
Okay.
Based off this, no, they're not going to do that. See, when they do something like this, it feels like it doesn't sound like Marvin Gaye, but what is that genre? Like
R&B.
I guess, yeah. It just feels weird saying Wilco sounds. It doesn't sound R&B, but there's something special about it.
You do realize this is what people think Steely Dan sounds like, right?
That cannot be further from the truth.
I try to keep the house nice and neat.
No, they would not do that.
I make my bed, I change the sheets. I even learned
That
how to
crunchy
use
ass
the
electric
washing
keyboard,
machine.
bro. Very like classic rock guitar work, but the tone is pretty sick.
What am I gonna do when I run out of shirts to fold?
Okay, it's like the reason I brought up Valerie is because it's like that kind of like not full on R&B, but it's kind of like that
Yeah.
sort of
What
thing.
am I gonna do if you never come home? Tell me.
I like that they go to that chord after that first diminished one.
Oh, there it is.
Bruh. Don't even.
Here.
Fucking stop. I hate that riff.
You hated it?
I don't like the notes in it.
Wow.
I caught myself.
With how much you were liking the other riffs, I thought you were going to love that. I love
It was just a worse version of Shake It Off.
Thinking once again.
I think it
drums are
fits
cool,
this
though.
70s sound, though.
Have to try to keep my
Because this is the most
mind.
unapologetically 70s sound on this album.
Try not to pretend.
Like this is like if the Eagles meet not the Beach Boys, if the Eagles met Steely Dan.
I can see the Eagles a bit. I don't see Steely Dan in this song. I'm gonna be honest.
Out there.
I haven't really mentioned much about lyrics, but I do like the lyrics in this song. It sounds like fucking Happy Birthday from the Beatles. Get that goofy ass shit out. Keep that in there though. Their songs also do seem to have kind of like end on the A section, like hang on for like 30 seconds
Okay.
and then call it a day. I'm noticing that.
This is better than ending on a chorus.
That is true. It's something different than in chorus. You know, this is kind of, it kind of reminds me of a George Harrison progression. Because I feel like
Okay.
on his solo work, he like busts out those diminished chords, and yeah, I think the lyrics were the most standout of the album so far. And I don't think any of the other lyrics were bad.
Yeah.
But I think these ones were noticeably good.
When I first heard this album, I think this song lyrically was the song that latched on to me the most. Now I would say there's other songs that I think lyrically are more interesting, but this was the one where I was like, oh, I like those lyrics. But I'm still a little shocked you don't like the riff and because
It's just
not
such a
my
lame
favorite.
riff. Like the
I think
rhythm and
it's
stuff's
great.
fine, but just like the notes in it is so lame.
But I still think it fits the vibe of the
It's-
verse.
Well, it doesn't
It's just-
really
it is
matter
a-
though if it's lame.
No, well, because I think the whole song has like that like chilled 70s kind of cookie cutter soft rock sound. So I think it fits it. I think if that riff came after like the riff in Shake It Off, it would not have worked. It would have felt corny. But I feel like this whole song is almost kind of corny, so it works. But I don't know. That's just me. Maybe you'll like it more on repeated listens. I can see you like on your third listen going like.
I don't know. The more I'm listening to it, the more it just sounds kind of like a bad blues song. So currently, I'm kind of upset about that last song. Okay, this song sounds different than the other ones. That's a good start.
That's when I knew you.
Okay, unexpected place to start. But I've been a fan of that type of thing. Cool, phasery guitar.
Somebody just like you to tell me
Okay,
what to
chromatic
do.
descent. Goes up.
Honestly,
They really do write different than I would, because a lot of these things I'm like expecting it to go somewhere else than it does, even if it's just one chord, whether they hang on to it for a little bit longer. I like that line, content with being blue.
Yeah, that's a good line.
It's a little bit early in the song for this. It gets a pass, but it's a little early for me. It's not quite around here. Okay, minor. Keep going down. Oh, major. I kind of like that little major riff to like the to the major 7. That's cool. So what I'm really noticing with their songs is they kind of start off underwhelming, and then it takes a different section. Like when we go back to that first section, it sounds a lot better than the first time I heard it.
Well, I remember, dude, this is the very first time you're hearing the song.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. They're able to see the section better. This feels like that kind of the happy part we heard, except not that section. Did they do this part earlier in the song?
Yeah.
Or they did? Okay.
Okay.
That one had a chill factor to it. I'm not gonna lie. I was very underwhelmed at first.
Yeah. I think that's how I was too. So I think the song's finally starting to grow on me, but this was a grower for sure. Because every time I play this album, I kind of forgot the song existed, if I'm being honest.
And not every moment was really. There wasn't a lot of like directly standout things, but it was kind of entertaining to listen to. It wasn't perfect, but it was kind of entertaining because it really didn't go exactly where I thought it would. I kind of like that short ending. I really wish they put that B section like maybe.
Even though when it comes
45 seconds, a minute later in the song.
Yeah, but it was already halfway through the song. It was 2 minutes into a 4-minute song.
Well, yeah. But so instead of just putting the B section directly in the middle, I think they should have put it more like 2/3 of the way in, then went back and then closed it.
I see what you're saying.
But I will say, this is one of the songs where they didn't go to the B section twice. They just did it once, so I appreciate that.
It was actually a bridge.
Yeah. It was actually a bridge, not a B section. Yeah. Good point. No obvious chorus, really. I mean, I guess when you look at the lyrics, but
the lead, yeah, that kind of refrain.
But hearing it once, it wasn't the most obvious. Oh, here's the
chorus.
I
do like that lyric, like for a title.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a decent title. Okay.
This next one has an interesting title.
Walkin'. Oh, why do they have to do this sound?
I'm walking.
Hey, monkey.
Yeah, I love
Curious George ass song.
Don't shit on Monkey. I love Monkey.
So they do parallel minor. Don't resolve it. But then they descend there, which I like that. Okay. Into like a pre-chorus. Oh. That was an STP move right there. Okay, that's also like the Dancing Days, STP Zeppelin thing. Okay, kind of a lame riff, but I'll see where it goes.
I was walking
Well, I'm glad they didn't just loop that riff forever. Interesting. So that, like, I guess, like, when the song changes, it does the chromatics in which we just fucking heard in the last song. It's really structured like a 70s song to me, though. Get the little call and answer. Not really digging the guitar on the right, but the guitar on the left's heavy. Major 7 makes up for it. I appreciate him using a slide. Wait. So you told me first listen, the last song was your least favorite?
Yeah?
I really like that major 7. Very STP. Really like that major 3rd in the bass. Good closing chord. Kind of like Vaseline. Nice.
Your brain just can't right now.
I can't, dude. All right. Okay. Perfect example of a highlight song. I was not sold on that last section at first, and then they sold me on it. I wasn't on board. But
I love when that guitar, the one that you said sounded like the hip. I love that little guitar. I just like the notes it plays.
Yeah, like that was a nice touch. And then I think it really glued together when that distorted guitar came in. Definitely a highlight song for me in the sense that there's a couple parts I liked and a couple parts that I didn't. What light? Let's move on. I'm trying not to get too hung up on Wacken. Okay, Eddie Vedder. He's like, I know a chord and a half. Fucking John Lennon as motherfucker. Dude. Okay, let me read the lyrics. Maybe that will save this song. It's making it worse. So this is like the other sky blue sky on the album. Now that this part's fleshed out a little more, I'm liking it more, but it's kind of boring, kind of forgettable. I mean, also might be because there is a lot of exciting stuff on this album. Maybe that's causing this effect. Vocal performance is not really engaging me enough. This does contrast with all this part. And the organs do sound nice. The organs do sound nice. And I think one of the other guitars, like in the verse, sounds pretty good.
And that like 3-chord thing you were talking about, that is very Ryan Adams. He used to do that a lot on like Love Is Hell.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, like, one of the first things I think about is like freaking, literally like I Stay Away.
Oh yeah.
It does that. All right. Well, this one was kind of just boring. Okay.
Album closer.
Literally hearing that, I'm so excited. I'm gonna try to set my expectations in a reasonable place. Okay. Okay. I could compare this to Ghost of You Lingers, except this is actually good sounding. Okay. This better get good fast. Okay, drums. Okay. Be the savior. And I'm just waiting for a total, but wait, there's more, like, just groove out section to come hit. Which, your response makes it seem like I'm not going to be getting that anytime soon. Okay, I feel like he's getting a little, he's picking up the dynamic with the vocals a little bit. Okay. Band's picking up. The ending did not disappoint. I was hoping for something like that.
I know when you're like, is there going to be a, but wait, there's a more moment? I laughed, not because I'm like, oh, there's not one. I was the opposite. I was like, oh, because it does break out a little bit. Not the most extreme, but.
And at first, I wasn't even sold. I was like, okay, but it didn't hit very hard. But that was crazy because I thought it was supposed to hit. It's not. It's supposed to build.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized that, I was like, okay, And that was
Well-
cool because it felt like it was getting louder. It felt like it was getting faster. It felt like to me, that type of section is like a Coldplay section. Like that's Coldplay at its
Yeah.
best to me. Is
Well,
when
and
the drums are kind of going off.
He wrote the song for his dad when Jeff Tweedy's mom passed away, so his dad's wife. And the song was like to his dad, trying to grieve their loss of their mom and their wife. So, I kind of feel like the fact that the song only kind of builds the whole time is part of that, because like I almost feel like that's life. Like your life is just always constantly building technically when you think about it, and then when you die, it's just like over. You know.
Yeah, but that first part of the song went on way too long like that.
It is it's a trying song. You have to. It's kind of like with a lot of their songs. You said though, like once you hear the next part and it goes back, you appreciate it more. I don't know if that's what's going to happen to you with this song. All right, so you're on YouTube. You just watched Tony's first reaction through this album. Tony, you've listened to this album now at least a couple more times on your own, following that reaction from last week.
Yep.
So now that you've had some time with the album, why don't you give us your kind of final thoughts? I might ask you some questions and whatnot, but you know, we got to hear how you felt about the songs on your first listen, and you know, going forward with these type of episodes, there might be some where our opinions change, you know, super differently than what we originally thought. But I have a feeling that a lot of your stances on these songs aren't going to change. But why don't you let us know?
Yeah, so I can run down through each song very briefly, but first let me just get my overall, updated thoughts here. I had thought this album was really enjoyable. I like it. To me, it's one of those albums where I think the sum of its parts is greater than maybe each song on its own. Not because the songs are bad, but because they're some of them are like more jam band based, which I'm down for. I love Primus, and they're a jam band in my opinion. And yeah, so something that was really apparent to me after a few more listens was you take a record like, some Steely Dan records or, I don't know, more polished records, and you listen to it, and there's a lot of production choices or songwriting choices, even like guitar solos, guitar work that are very intentional, note for note, picked out and everything. This album, there's a lot of moments where I felt like it was just, they did a take and they're like, that's cool, and they kept it. Or they maybe panned something and it doesn't feel random, but it just kind of feels like they panned it to pan it because it sounds good. And that sort of real loose freedom there, I thought was pretty cool. And maybe I'm reading too far into it, but that was just something that I kind of observed that I thought was in there that I could learn from. Yeah, I mean, I got up early this morning and I went on like a whole nice walk listening to this album. It was enjoyable then. I listened to it a few nights ago at night, and it was enjoyable then too. Something too. Jeff Tweedy, if I recall here in the reaction, maybe I was a little skeptical of him. Not sure what I was going to run into, if he was going to be one of those kind of hipster guys or something, but after a few more listens, I actually found him quite likable, and I liked his performances. Lyrics, I don't think there's anything. I think there's good lyrics on the album. I think some of the songs maybe are a little more just like, here's some good lines, here's kind of just some things kind of put together. Not saying they don't have meaning or they're not intentional, but yeah, I guess for me, it's just the vibes of the songs that stood out to me. So I'll say this: I like all of the songs, although there's one song to me that is a little bit of a sleeper.
Which
Forgettable.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. My guess, the song you're probably talking about is "What Light."
Yes, the Christian rock song on the album.
Come
on, it's called "What Light." White, and he says white light. Like, I'm sorry.
I don't think the song is about anything like that, but it's the most
those
straightforward
words.
But even taking that aside, musically, it's like the most simple song, most straightforward. It's not a bad song, but it's
Yeah, it's not bad. It just doesn't really interest me.
I think it fits on the album well, and I like it every time I play it on the album, but is it a song I listen to outside of the album? Not really. It's not one that I like go out of my way to play.
And it's only 3.5 minutes, and it's before the final track, so it's not that big of a deal. It's, it's not a super long song compared to the other ones on the album. So that being said, I think some of the issues or concerns I had on my first listen mostly kind of were resolved after hearing it a few more times. So kind of right off the bat, opening song, I really just like the picking and the chords in it. Some of the modulations were unexpected. Still kind of gives me Radiohead vibe. And kind of throughout the album, there's a lot of chord changes, whether it's the timing, the actual voicing, or the chord itself. There were choices that I wouldn't do personally. Not because I don't like them, but it didn't feel natural to me, which I thought was cool because that challenges me to, I don't know, kind of internalize it. One of my initial issues with the album was I didn't think "You Are My Face" was a good second song, considering either way it's kind of a slow start. Considering there's not really any fast songs on the album, it's not that big of a deal. And "You Are My Face" it's probably like bottom half of the album for me. It's not bad at all. Kind of still reminds me of the Byrds. But it's fine. It's a little vibe out.
That beat section though is killer.
Well, like where like that distorted guitar comes
Yeah.
in. It does rock
His
there.
vocals become more animated.
Yeah. There is dynamics in it for sure.
It took time to grow on me too, though. Actually, the first two, because the first one's just kind of more laid back. Even though I love that little jazzy guitar solo, and then "You Are My Face," starts off and you're kind of like, is this whole album going to be kind of acoustic chill? But then once you get that B section, I think that kind of is a setup for how at least a majority of the rest of the album is going to sound like.
Yeah. No, that is a good point. That is kind of like a promising section there, that there will be more variety to come. So I'm kind of just cranking through these songs, but that's mostly because I think a lot of my initial opinions are kind of the same.
Yeah, and that's really cool because we did the reaction, and a lot of your feelings are going to be the same.
You really hyped up, or well, I shouldn't say you hyped up, but you seem to really enjoy "Impossible Germany," and I like that song. It's a good vibe track, and my favorite part, though, I'm not sure if it's yours, is just how squiggly some of the guitars sound. Like at the beginning, squiggly is the best word I can use to describe them. And I think that's cool. I like it.
I love the guitar licks. My favorite part is the very beginning of the solo. He before Niels Klein really starts cooking with the solo, he just does these really simple couple note licks. And they're kind of more atmospheric, and they just fit the moody vibe of the song. Because that's the thing I like about the song the most. It's moody, lyrically, musically, and there's parts where it gets very more exciting, especially when you have the dual guitar bits coming in during the solo. But it's the moody parts of the song that really sells it for me.
It's also one of those songs where the kind of on its own, maybe not looking into it too much, the chorus line, impossible Germany, unlikely Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is a total nonsense sounding line, but fortunately it does not come off like a Chili Peppers line. So I think it actually helps the song give it that kind of the song doesn't sound mysterious, but it
It's because you can rhyme things with Japan better than you can California.
Well, California, so next song on the album, the title track. This one I kind of pair with "Leave Me Like You Found Me." To me, those songs are kind of similar to me on the album, especially because they're both impossible. Slow down. "Sky Blue Sky" is on the first quarter of the album, where "Leave Me" is the last quarter of the album. I like "Leave Me" a little bit more. "Sky Blue Sky" is cool.
And I'm kind of the opposite.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
of course you are. So Sky Blue Sky, when the vocals come in, it sounds like it's gonna be kind of like a little kid nursery rhyme or something. But then I figured it out. To me, it kind of sounds like when Maxwell's Silver Hammer starts. Like I'm sorry, I just can't shake that dot. I do like the lyric. I wrote it down here. Oh, I didn't die. I should be satisfied. In fact, a lot of my favorite vocal performances on the album is more that somber, kind of quiet, soft-spoken performance from Mr. Tweedy.
Okay, so that leads me to believe you might like a good amount of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so kind of like I felt like he did a good job of doing that. Self-deprecating is not the word, but oh, I didn't die. I should be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Leave me here like you found me. Like those sort of even when he says, I hate it here in that song. I don't know. I kind of like those vulnerable moments. I think he pulls them off well, and they feel really sincere, and the conviction's there. Least favorite part of the album, other than What Light, it's gonna have to be that big distorted riff in "Hate It Here," where they just go full Beatles mode.
See, I
Full
love that
Happy
part.
Birthday.
I think if the other part of the song didn't have that 70s vibe, I totally understand why it would come off cheesy, but that whole song is just that vibe. And I think it does it so well. And because there's like so much verse before that chorus lead, I feel like at least it's a little bit like, I know you think it's predictable, but I think up until that point and you're listening, you think the song's going to be pretty mellow, and then it rocks out a little bit. I
mean,
like
but
that about it.
It just gets a little too cheesy, happy, kind of like on the like it's just. I mean, it's not done bad. Like I think the dynamics in there is fine, the performance is fine, but it just doesn't do it for me.
See, this is where we disagree the most, because that's not. I wouldn't say it's a top 5 moment on the album for me, but and I love all of Hate It Here. I love the lyrics. I love the way he sings it. I love the rest of the instrumentation, and that's one of the things I love.
I said these are probably the most, some of the most, how do you say it, like,
Straightforward.
Straightforward lyrics. Thank you.
Yeah, he's singing about he hates someone left him, and he's trying to do household chores around to keep him occupied, so he's not thinking of them. Folding laundry, cutting the grass, and then he's like, "When I run out of all that stuff to do, I'm still going to be thinking about you." And then he's in the chorus. He's like, "I hate it here without you."
Okay, I said something bad about the album. I don't like that little riff, and I hate it here. But I do really like "Please Be Patient with Me." Once again,
one of my favorites.
Tenderly sung. Really nice acoustic guitar work. The picking's done well. It kind of starts off kind of like not as playful as like a Overcooked type soundtrack thing, but kind of like how I mentioned on the Young the Giant episode. I can't remember what song it was. Something with art in it, right?
Art Exhibit.
Yes, Art Exhibit kind of has that also, that kind of like wholesome sounding acoustic.
It's like if Elliott Smith wrote a happy song.
Well, all right. Clearly,
that wasn't called Happiness.
So I'm curious. Did you think "Please Be Patient with Me" was a song that I would like?
Well, yeah, because
you said it sounds like Elliott to you.
I did, because I thought it had the most Elliott Smith vibes. I thought you liked the little walk down in the chorus. There's some things that are a little unexpected with the music, and I thought you would appreciate it because it is like it's the most stripped back song on the album by far.
I do also like the structure of it. It's different than the other song structures. It's just kind of like, we're going to do this long thing and then we're going to do it again. And I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a basic kind of like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus.
But it feels like a long sequence of things going on.
It flows perfectly into each part.
Yeah, so let me backtrack here. I'm gonna say the biggest grower on the album, and I feel kind of like I'm cheating by saying it's the biggest grower because I did immediately love a part of it. Side with the Seeds. Now, was a little bit skeptical when I heard that first note that he sang, and like it didn't take more than a couple listens to be like, all right, that's it. I'm cool with that note at the beginning. It was just a little much on the first listen, but it's really no different than like a Ben Folds performance. Early days where his voice is all kind of not as good. No shit talk, Ben. I'm sorry. We talk about you. We give you enough praise on this podcast, okay? So, Side with the Seeds. I like it. It just kind of starts off kind of like, I don't want to say chill. The vocals are kind of high energy, but it's non-offensive, right?
Yeah.
And then the way it transitions to like that like little triplet riff in there and just builds, like that is so awesome. The chord progression that goes underneath the little riff is perfect. I love it. And the fact that they go back to that main verse and then do the little build-up thing again, the little B section, cool. No complaints with the song, really. It's one of my favorites. So, Side with the Seeds, very cool song. Fun, energetic, also kind of laid back, which is nice, but still more energy than the previous songs. Now, to me, Shake It Off is a really fun one. Another one stand out for me. It just has that kind of really relaxed, chromatic riff. And the timing's a little funky throughout it. There's a few moments that kind of surprise you, catch you off guard. You're gonna watch me fail to groove with it on the reaction portion of this video. Don't hate me, guys. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but there's a lot of good stuff in this album. A lot of things I really like in particular, like the details. And even though the album kind of, like when I actually sit down and think about it, there's a lot of kind of slow, acoustic, soft sounding stuff on it, but it doesn't feel like a super, acoustic slow down album. It just kind of feels like another album in a good way. And there is a lot of kind of throwback vibes, kind of 70 vibes. Yeah, so on the closing track, that's where it was. So there's like my favorite part of the album, the whole album, is definitely on the closing track. After like that kind of solo section, which to me sounds super 70s. The Beach Boys.
Is that organ sound?
I think it might be a guitar, but it might be an organ though. But it reminds me of their song "Leaving This Town," where there is like kind of like this organ solo thing, and it just reminds me of that, and it's just super moody. But after they do that, and the vocals come back in, and then the band builds, favorite part of the whole album.
I'm glad you like that, because I thought you would maybe think that part was corny, coming out of the instrumental section.
No, it was done so good. Love that part.
It makes the song more powerful, especially knowing the context of it being about a song he wrote to his dad about his mother passing away.
Yeah, super, super moving, super touching at the same time.
I was shocked that out of all like the cool guitar parts on this album, that section and that song is your favorite. I'm glad, but I'm just surprised.
Because the whole band just comes together, and it's like cinematic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, favorite part is there. The one kind of weird song on the album I would say is Walkin'.
As the one I was kind of the most unsure how you would feel about it.
It's got that kind of that ragtime piano, I believe.
At the beginning, yeah.
Label it. It's got a lot of slide guitar that's very kind of Zeppelin-y to me. But it is a fun song. It's interesting. It is catchy too. I like the way he sings like the little chorus bit. Do 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 do. Even though it kind of sounds like he's like kind of missing some of the notes. It sounds cool. Now it is a song I feel like you kind of got to be in the mood for, because it is a little bit
it's a little tongue-in-cheek song.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I'm glad it's not just me feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are kind of all my thoughts on the the little details on the album.
So overall, it sounds like you went into this album kind of really not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And going back and editing your reaction from your first listen, you even some of the moments that you enjoyed, you were still unsure because you weren't sure how they fit within each song and how they blended with other moments. But it kind of sounds like the more you've listened to it, the more things are kind of fitting in with one another. And besides maybe a moment here or one song there, you feel pretty positive about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as you can probably tell, I'm pretty excited talking about it. Because I'm digging it, and like I kind of mentioned, I wouldn't say it was a grower in the sense of like I didn't like it and now I like it.
Yeah.
But it's more of a grower in the sense of, oh, I like most everything on this album. Um, I am curious to see what their other albums would be like.
Our little test here. Would you buy it on vinyl? And I know right now you and I are we're trying not to buy a lot of vinyl. We're trying to save up our money, But let's say just down the road you had an Amazon gift card. Would you buy this on vinyl?
I like that. We should include that for the test. If you had a gift card.
But yeah, basically, if you had an Amazon gift card and you're like, I haven't bought a record in a while, is this one you would consider buying?
Yeah, for sure. I would.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm very excited to give you your next one. And because we're doing these reaction episodes, I might not wait as long because like I said, there's so many other Wilco songs that I've listened to now that I'm very curious in your opinion. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it. Good pick. Much better pick than last month.
And hopefully everyone watching and listening enjoyed our edited reaction to the album. Let us know if that's something you want us to keep doing. We're definitely going to do it at least for next week's episode. Oh, and really quick, I'm going to be ending this episode with a cover of Please Be Patient With Me.
Ooh,
So,
exciting.
yeah. But yeah, we hope everyone takes care, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Bye-bye.
I should warn you, and I'm not well, and I can't tell. Oh, there's nothing I can do to make this easier for you. You're gonna need to be patient with me. I'm this apple, this happening stone. When I'm alone, oh, but my blessings get so blurred at the sound of your words. I'm gonna need you to be patient with me. How can I warn you when my tongue turns to dust, like we've discussed? Doesn't mean that I don't care. partially there. You're gonna need